we're still walking around in mortal flesh. But he says, ye are not in the flesh. Once you're born of God, we're supposed to reckon this body already dead. And I know it can seem confusing, but that's what he says. This guy's already dead. Reckon him dead. We don't feed him. We don't listen to him. We don't use him as a guide. We hear the Spirit, and we're walking in the Spirit, right? So he says, for when we were in the flesh, the motions of sin, which were by the law. Do you see that? This is the context here. When you're law-focused, the motions of sin increase, and you'll see it. That's why he says, I was alive once without the law, but then the law came and I died. All right? So that's the whole point of this. The good that I would, that I don't. The thing that I hate, that I do. It's because that's what the law does. It's the strength of sin. Now, why in the world would anyone try to put you back under that when it causes you to stumble constantly? But keeping your eyes on Jesus constantly, knowing that you're God's child, knowing who you are, knowing your identity, that is how you walk in the truth of who he wants you to be. And there's so much fighting against this. All right. I guess because there's so much that people don't get, that what Paul's saying here. For when we were in the flesh, the motions of sin, which were by the law, did work in our members to bring forth fruit unto death. But now we are delivered from the law, that being dead, wherein we were held, that we should serve in newness of spirit and not in the oldness of the letter. What shall we say then? Is the law sin? God forbid. Nay, I had not known sin, but by the law. Do you see that? He didn't even know what sin was until the law was given to him. For I had not known lust, except the law had said, thou shalt not covet. He didn't even know that he was doing anything sinful until the law revealed it to him. But sin, taking occasion by the commandment. Do you see how the law, the commandment, these things strengthen sin? They bring forth sin more? It says so. Taking occasion by the commandment, wrought in me all manner of concupiscence. That's desirous, lustful. It's usually of a sexual connotation, but not always. It can also mean the desire for things strong in your flesh, like the desire to have something of the flesh. It doesn't have to be sexual or sensual, but it often is in the context. So he's saying, for without the law, sin was dead. See, sin is revived because of the law. It says it right here. I had not known sin but by the law. And it says that it came by the commandment. The commandment's what brought forth the sin in him. So what is it that brings forth sin in Paul? The law. All right? That's why the law cannot make anybody righteous. That's all we're ever saying. There's scriptures like David talking about, I'll meditate on your laws and stuff like that. People think that means the Ten Commandments. It doesn't. It means the prophets, all of his teachings, the things that God says are righteous. That's all that is. It means the oracles of God, the teachings of God. And we all agree that they're good. But we can all agree that our flesh is not. We were all together born in sin. It says that. And what does it say? From my mother's womb I was stitched in iniquity or something. We didn't begin at zero. We before we had done anything wrong, we were already had the death sentence upon us. So when it says, is the law sin? God forbid. Nay, I had not known sin but by the law, for I had not known lust except the law had said, thou shalt not covet. So the law was there to show him that he was a sinner. And that's exactly what it was given for, so that every mouth may be stopped and all the whole world become guilty before God to be a schoolmaster, bring us unto Christ. But after Christ has come, we're no longer under schoolmaster. So it says, for sin, taking occasion by the commandment. So sin comes by the commandment. The commandment actually is what brought it forth. Deceived me, and by it slew me. So, the thing that's supposed to be good, it actually killed me, is what he's saying. Because I agree in my mind, just like I do, that God's law is perfect. And I can look around and see the horrible things that happen in this world and go, it all goes back to sin. If that person wouldn't have cheated on their husband, then he wouldn't have killed him, and then the kid wouldn't have been brought up this way, and then the prison wouldn't have been full. I was like, you can take it all back to sin, right? We can see it. But we're all carnal, sold under sin, because we're born of mortal flesh. So, wherefore the law is holy, and the commandment holy and just and good. Was then that which is good make death unto me? God forbid. But sin, that it might appear sin, working death in me by that which is good, that sin by the commandment might become exceedingly sinful. So there's the purpose of the law in a nutshell. Tells you right there, that which is good was made death unto me, God forbid. That wasn't the purpose. See, God didn't give the law so that it would bring death to me. He's saying that's not God's purpose for the law. But here is the purpose. That sin, that it might appear sin, working death in me by that which is good, which is the law, that sin by the commandment might become exceedingly sinful. So they'd be brought to the surface and we could see it. I like this picture pastor showed a long time ago. It was a glass of clear water and it had like some dirt in the bottom. And he said, see this spoon, this is the law. And he stuck it in and stirred it up and the dirt went, you could see it wasn't clear anymore. He said, see how the water looks clear and then you put the law in there and stir it up. You see all the dirt there. Not quite as clean as you thought. But see, the law stirs it up and shows you the areas you're dirty in.